You're probably wondering, how can Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos be worth hundreds of billions, yet technically own so little of their companies? Shouldn't being rich mean owning everything outright? Here's the truth. Billionaires don't play the ownership game. They play the control game. And once you understand why they own less but control more, it will change the way you think about business forever. Most entrepreneurs dream of owning 100% of their business. But billionaires, they deliberately give ownership away. Because in their world, ownership is a trap and control is power. By the end of this video, you'll see why the richest people on earth would rather own just 10%, and how you can apply the same principle to scale your own empire. Imagine two people. One owns 100% of a bicycle shop. The other owns just 10% of an airline. Which one is wealthier? Which one controls more resources? Take Jeff Bezos. He started Amazon with full ownership. But as Amazon grew, he needed capital, talent, and speed. He sold shares, brought in investors, and when Amazon went public, Bezos owned far less than half. Today, he owns about 9% of Amazon, yet he's one of the richest men alive. Why? Because that smaller slice grew into a trillion-dollar pie. Bezos chose scale over control, yet he never actually lost control. And here's the trick. You don't need to own everything to control everything. If you scan the Forbes list, you'll notice a strange pattern. The richest people rarely own 100% of their companies. Jeff Bezos, 9% of Amazon. Mark Zuckerberg, 13% of Meta. Warren Buffett, roughly 16% of Berkshire Hathaway. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, together less than 15% of Alphabet. Yet they still control their empires. Why? Because they understand that ownership feeds ego, but control builds wealth. Here's the trap. When you try to own everything yourself, you choke your company. You starve of oxygen, capital, partnerships, global reach. It's like baking a pie. If you insist on keeping the entire pie small so no one else gets a slice, you'll never taste real abundance. Billionaires prefer a small slice of a trillion-dollar pie rather than the whole of $1 million one. That's the mindset shift. Stop thinking about ownership. Start thinking about scale. So how do the rich stay powerful with so little ownership? They use 3 strategies the average entrepreneur never thinks about. 1. Equity splits and special stock classes. When a company raises money, billionaires happily give equity away, but not all equity is equal. Google's founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, created 2 classes of stock. The public got Class A shares, 1 vote each. But Page and Brin kept Class B shares, 10 votes each. Today, despite owning less than 15% combined, they control over 50% of the votes. Translation: you can buy Alphabet stock, but you'll never buy their decision-making power. 2. Trusts and holding companies. Ownership is often separated from control through legal structures. Take Warren Buffett. He doesn't directly own all of Berkshire Hathaway. Instead, the company is structured as a holding entity, which owns dozens of subsidiaries from Geico to Dairy Queen. On paper, Buffett owns a minority, but in practice, no major move happens without him. Even when billions fluctuate on paper, his control never wavers. That's the power of structure. 3. Board influence and leadership positions. Finally, billionaires protect their influence by staying in the leadership seat. Elon Musk is the perfect example. Even if Tesla diluted his shares tomorrow, he's still CEO, still steering the vision, still influencing the board. In the world of billionaires, position often matters more than percentage. This isn't new. History is full of empire builders who owned little but controlled everything. Take John D. Rockefeller. By the early 1900s, he owned less than 25% of Standard Oil. Yet through trusts and board seats, he controlled over 90% of America's oil industry. Or look at Andrew Carnegie. He invited investors into Carnegie Steel, giving up slices of ownership, but kept ultimate control through strategy and board influence. The empire wasn't built by clinging to ownership. It was built by scaling through control. So what does this mean for you? The entrepreneur, the business builder, the investor? It means stop obsessing about owning 100%. Instead, focus on positioning yourself to control vision, key decisions, and direction. If you're building a startup, consider equity splits that attract capital without losing decision-making. If you're scaling, use structures, holding companies, partnerships that protect your influence. If you're leading, prioritize leadership and board roles. Because equity can shrink, but influence lasts. Here's the paradox. Billionaires often own less, but are worth more. Why? Because they invite others in. They leverage other people's money, other people's talent, and other people's networks. The irony? The person clinging to 100% ownership ends up poor. The one who shares ownership ends up rich. Because scale rewards leverage, not ego. So, the next time someone brags about owning 100% of their business, remember this. Billionaires laugh at that idea. They don't chase ownership. They chase control. And that's why owning just 10% makes them richer than anyone else alive. Own less. Control more. That's how you win the game of wealth. And maybe the real question isn't, how much do you own? The real question is, how much do you control?